seems to be the name of this series. Getting that early advantage is so important. So let's see how things shift as Top Esports choose to remain on the blue side.
And now the Azir banned away the Talia. Again, we're going deeper into the mid lane champion pools. We've got some creative
Caps
picks.
gets targeted more.
Yeah, LeBlanc now taken away as well. I think good news for G2 that they were able to win, especially against the Kiana from Kanavi. I think Rob highlighted it on the desk as well. But taking away some of these more niche picks that can often be difficult to play against when you don't see them as much domestically is a big win in the context of Fearless.
Jarvan, I think, is a very important jungler in Game 3, especially because when we think about the most meta, the most potent, the most effective early game junglers, I feel like Jarvan raises very high on the list, and I imagine both these junglers will want to get their hands on the pick. But is it something that's worth first picking? Is it safe enough to pick this early in the draft when we know that especially a team like G2 has so many creative options?
Yeah, I usually like seeing at least one immobile carry for the opponents to lock in to then be able to use it. But as you say, Kanavi has been insane with this champion. Definitely very, very scary if they decide to early pick it. Of course, Kanavi's been very scary on a lot of champions.
That he has, but you highlighted Jarvan, his most played in Split 3/Summer. And a lot of the mobile 80 carries, off the board.
Well, Ezreal is the biggest one, right?
Kai'Sa as well,
yeah.
so...
Yeah, Trundle is still available, so that one's definitely pretty high priority.
Sion also up, which means we may be in a situation where, an early Trundle denies or at least warns against an early Sion.
So this could be the Kled Trundle type of draft that we could see from G2, depending on how confident Top Esports is to blind pick the Sion. And I think picking the Trundle is a really smart adaptation because then it deters the Sion pick away from G2 and it still allows Top Esports to get it for themselves.
G2 is an awkward position to be in, right? Sion has been so consistently high value, kind of, unless you can 100% shut him down in the early game, which is technically what TES did to G2 in that first match in Swiss. This is a champion that feels kind of this inevitable front line that will be hard to deal with, but with a Trundle locked in, G2 may be forced to give it away.
Poppy also got through the bans this time around, so as we progress and we start to see, dash carries actually picked up, gonna have to remain cognizant there, see if they decide to get that powerful pick. All right, we get a pushing bottom lane here.
And it seems like the read that you had, Vetty, talking about pushing lanes, lane dominance early on, and this could be big. Locked in. Cast your minds back. 2024 MSI. It was Yike on this Ivern. Double 80 carry compositions for G2 and Top Esports helpless from minute one.
Cast your mind back a few hours. We were in the back room saying, wait, does Skimon play Ivan? We were going back to the logs. Yeah, he's got a few games
I was just going to pretend we knew that. I wasn't going to go back to wait, does he play?
But I didn't expect it in Game 3. I saw that Trundle and my instincts immediately went to, I think Ivan could really be good here just because it facilitates this idea of a strong pushing bot lane. But I don't think Top Esports have responded poorly by going for the Ezreal Karma. They've gotten a bot lane duo that can look to match this Caitlyn with good range, good safety, and good wave clear.
Ivern is one of the champs that's always so annoying for Trundle, though, because it does have so much safety that can lock him up.
Now, if you are an OG fan of Lebrov, you love to see this Thresh. If you are a 2025 fan of Lebrov, it's been cursed. Multiple high-pressure LEC finals in clutch games, the Thresh was brought out. It failed catastrophically. Not entirely because of the pick, but this is a massive sign of confidence for the G2 support, and we're going to have to see if it pays off.
Wow. Okay. A lot of trust being given to Lebrov. He wants to play a champion that he is extremely comfortable on it. He has a long history on it, and we'll see how it performs.
Where are you on that scale, Vedius?
Pessimistic.
Okay.
I think that Thresh is just kind of a bad champion, if I'm being really honest.
That's my guy. That's my guy. Yep.
And I think the Karma just has so much poke. The problem for G2 right now is the lack of lockdown, I feel like, that they need for a champion like Ezreal. And for Top Esports, I think that they just want to try and stack up the range. They want to make it as difficult as possible for G2 to close that gap. The question is, what direction do they go? I think removing the Sion is a good adaptation. The Jax, a comfort pick for Broken Blade on the top side, also removed from Top Esports. And you could see how the approach, G2 trying to remove some of the more traditional standard meta things that can just be synonymously strong with a lot of what Top Esports already have. Top Esports really targeting some of these comfort picks, the LeBlanc, the Jax. I wonder what else to look to try and remove from G2's pool.
Yeah, I mean, TES are showing
There's the Kled.
pretty dang good poke comp, and so poke comps are worried about the hard engage, so Kled definitely makes sense with all those Kled comps that G2 did run. But Trundle Pillar with Karma and Ezreal is like a shooting gallery of poke damage towards the mid game. See how effective they can be with it. Root Collars and Death Sentences from the side of G2 are pretty easy to dodge when you've got the extra speed that TES have.
Nope. It looks like a relatively safe blind pick for the G2. In the Renekton, of course, synergizes nicely with the Root Collar from the Ivern. This TS now debate on what their final 2 picks are going to be. Now, as much as I'm skeptical of the Thresh, it's important to highlight if G2 can pull ahead early on, Thresh is a fantastic champion at snowballing lead, the hooks that can come from Fog of War. That said, the range discrepancy between these 2 teams right now is starting to feel enormous.
Again, I just love the poke comps that are centered around Trundle Pillar. Trundle Pillar is just such a good ability at setting them all up. And so Hui makes a lot of sense here for TES. We have seen 369 with amazing Aatrox.
I mean, we saw it in the Swiss game. We ran it side by side with the Shy replay that we all know
seen
is
a lot of
cursed.
Aatrox, okay?
And I'm just saying, they looked pretty much the same.
They only had 2 different champions in their first game here in Swiss versus G2. Instead of the Hui, they had Orianna. Instead of the Ezreal, they had the Yunara. But
really? Caps' Silas into this much range does... You know what? I question the Lucian. Great pick from Caps. I mean, what you've got is... Ivan has a lot of champions to support, whether it be Caitlyn on the back line or Silas/Renekton on the front line. Silas both and Renekton are great skirmishers in their ability to threaten backlines, into work together and lock down a target and make it difficult for them to play. But again, top esports have a huge amount of range. And I've always thought one of Renekton's biggest struggles is closing that gap against champions like Hui and like the Ezreal.
Yeah, I favor top esports side here pretty heavily. Them having really good poke damage, really good speed discrepancies here. I feel like the pressure on G2 was to pick something that is going to be able to close the distance and get the engage. And that is going to be difficult for them to accomplish.
They have the Silas, they've got the Renekton, the Root Collar. Still going to be so hard for them to get on top of these key targets. And again, game 1, all about early domination. Game 2 for G2, the same, through that Lucian Bard. Game 3, the advantages in lane have often been the key component of who comes out on top. It has not been about late game scaling or team fighting. It's been about massive early leads, and G2 may need to find one again. They want to fire back in this game 3.
1-1, game 3. After the first game, the hope died a little bit for EU fans, but then G2 bounced back, and we find ourselves in a tense series. Winner of this will go to match point. Will be one step closer to the semifinals at Worlds, while the other will fall further behind and closer to being sent home. G2 with position on the bot side of the map. We have to bear in mind the split map. Both AD carries want the support of their junglers. They'll be contesting for that push, and we'll see if either side try and fight for early enemy jungle control.
Let me remind you, in the game in Swiss that they did play, Kanavi absolutely ran the early game with the Trundle. He had really good pathing down towards the bottom side. He helped out Jackie Young with the dive. And so it's kind of a flip of what G2 just did to them. We'll see which team can pressure on the bottom side. If this Ezreal plus Karma poke damage is going to land in the early stages, then it should be TES here setting up for a similar game plan.
And it is important for TES to find those early leads, because as much as they have the range advantage, G2 have a lot of CC. They have a lot of tools. If they find a lead, make it very easy for them to play out the fights. TES need to be clean on the movement, need to pick the right angles. Early lane should favor them. Rob obviously can get early access to the death sentence, but Karma Ezreal, I mean, it's been an oppressive 2v2 for 10 years of League of Legends at this point.
Lebrov needs to mitigate the incoming damage. Try and not take too much poke damage as they're fighting over the push. Meanwhile, Trundle will be pathing down towards this bottom side as expected to try and make use of the Karma Ezreal poke. Same thing in mid lane though. So G2 are going to have to deal with both mid and bottom being kind of weak points as far as the push goes. Silas, of course, always has the opportunities for going for all-ins when you have an Ivern jungle. And that's the one thing Cream does have to be a little bit careful of.
Nice trades there from Cream, though. Punishing Caps when he can. The farm from Caps, pretty solid overall, as Broken Blade at the very least has push on the top side of the map. Those hooks from Lebrov, there's going to be one going wide, and that gives that bot lane that extra push.
Also remember how quickly Ivern clears. So first clear, you always have to be worried about the Ivern early move, because you do have this extra time over pretty much all other junglers with the super quick clear, and he's going to use that time to go towards mid, as we were talking about, trying to help Caps out, maybe with a possible all-in.
Instantaneous fear. Good use of the despair from Cream just to make sure the Caps is forced back. Does allow Caps to, at the very least, push out the wave, get a moment for himself, but Kanavi now looking to punish. Cream still moving in. Root Caller going to hit. Root doesn't quite connect. G2 are able to walk away, but obviously playing a little bit on the edge there because Trundle can do so much work in those early skirmishes.
And the other part of this is that you know this Ivern's been chased up to the top of the map. So that allows Hong and Jackie Love here to continue to try and throw out some poke and try and wear down on the Caitlyn and Thresh extra potions that they have. Currently, Lebrov is dry on potions. No more sustain left for him for the Thresh. And that's the one that's going to be in pain as they continue to focus.
Early back coming through from Caps as he'll TP back into the middle lane. Cream, once he clears out this wave, I imagine will look to do the same thing. Hook!
Hook connecting, forcing a cleanse out from Jackie Love.
Now that trap combo is scary, so he wants to avoid as much damage as possible. Now, Skewmond making his way top lane.
Blake can just leverage the stun here. Infernal Chains do pull him back, but it might not matter. Skewmond, decent damage now coming in. The shield, extra slow there. Broken Blade still waiting for that cooldown, though. Might not be able to finish it. Does not want to go under tower. One more auto, and Skewmond manages to seal the deal.
Beautiful CC combination. Renekton stun into Root Caller from the Ivern, and G2 grab first blood again.
I really didn't think that Broken Blade would actually have the damage to secure that kill, but they're just able to secure it. Caps misses out on the cannon minion as Cream with fantastic pressure in the 1v1. Hong now hovering around mid lane. Trundle isn't that far behind either.
Severing Bolt, a Mantra Q to come over the wall perhaps, so they spot Caps. They see Skewmond as well, so they decide not to risk it. Instant Flash comes in, of course. Ivern, pretty obnoxious champion to try and counter jungle.
Yep. When he has that smite available, there's not much that you can really do. But Broken Blade on this Renekton now in a great position. We know that when this champion gets a little bit of a lead, it becomes very difficult for his lane opponent to reclaim control over the wave. And so getting that Renekton ahead early, a nice advantage for G2 that should set up Broken Blade for success.
Yeah, if G2 can get their front line ahead, having the empowerment of Ivern, then they can really bully this TES squad. Something they have to be very careful of. Again, they get the resets right back out. You get the early Dark Seal plus your Lucidity boots here. So Skewmond definitely set up to make some of these counter plays. If him plus Lebrov can clear out the vision through River to allow these roams back and forth.
Hansama, flash forward from Hong, looking to lock him down with the root and still manage to connect as Kanavi moves in. That's the pillar locking in as well. Jackie Love's W going a little bit wide here as Hansama tries to back out with the lantern, denying the play. Lebrov ready to body block as well as Cream is moving forward, has access to the ultimate, the spiraling despair. Lebrov still frontlining Skewmond, the shields. We're going to keep him standing for now. Lebrov is forced to flash away. TES with control of the bot side rivers. There's an all-in top. Dominus already used by Broken Blade. 369 on the way out with the Whirlender. Should just be able to walk it off.
That priority on bottom lane, though, is going to result in full river control for TES. Kanavi goes off of the Dragon to look towards mid instead, but there's no flash on Lebrov.
Kanavi now level 6. Caps level 6 as well. Moving in right into Cream. Might be able to find the 1v1 as Kanavi now starting to run. Caps can just take the ulti away and look to finish the kill. Kanavi forced to use the subjugate to stay standing. Cream debating if he wants to commit to this, but it's Hong and Jackie Love on the way in. Caps, quick dash out with the abscond. We'll just be able to retreat, but both sides fishing for these angles, looking for these plays.
I really thought Caps would commit harder, but he has much better map awareness than I do, realizes that the bot lane of Top Esports is ready to collapse. They can probably collapse quicker than he would be able to get that kill and get out. So instead, G2 choose to disengage. A lot of respect being shown towards Top Esports. He's going to steal the Karma ulti just to connect the Mantra Q to interrupt Cream's base. Nice little play there from Caps. He's not really going to have much mana, though. This Cannon Wave going to force Cream to stick around for a little while longer, as it's actually bought time for Hansama to make his way towards mid.
Labrov going to use the Lantern to bring Hansama into mid lane that much faster. Only looks like a single melee minion. Not even that will get denied, so good lane assignments from G2. Good use of the Lantern once again.
It was a scary situation in the river there, hung with great awareness that tether range, as long as he flashes early enough, Hansama wouldn't be able to escape from. And in conjunction with Kanavi, it was so close to getting a big kill onto Hansama, but as you highlighted, Dracos, the use of this Lantern, something we haven't seen, it feels like in years, coming to full effect here in Game 3 of this best of 5.
And the other big thing is Wall Thresh can be a very feast or famine champion. If you're the team who gets to set up first, he can feel so powerful.
Yeah, same thing for Caitlyn and the Caitlyn traps. Nice little brush line here is going to allow the quicker stack up as well. Lantern safety is still there. Nicely done from G2. All 3 grubs acquired.
A bit of a misplay there, though, as Hansama and...
Broken Blade.
Gets the cleanse out of Jackie Love, but both Skumon and Hansama were in awkward positions there. Skumon loses his flash as 369 ulties.
And they're traded. Infernal Chain's miss, and 369 doesn't want to push any further.
Cap's going to quickly get away to safety. Has the TP available very soon. Keep your eyes on the minimap, though. The rotation is going to come through from G2. This time around, it looks like they want to send Caps back to mid. They want to have Hansama go and catch that top wave. Dragon, it seems G2's more than happy to concede, as 369 is now facing up against the G2 bot lane.
In respect to Broken Blade, this man is clearly very comfortable getting the short end of the stick, as he now likely has to lane against the Karma Ezreal, but instead, Top Esports don't want to stick around, don't want to push any advantage there, instead want to match lanes with G2. A moment of indecision. They did start the recalls, but they will now opt to stay in the bottom lane. Hansama and Labrov do their best to pressure 369 out, try to maybe get some of these plates down.
Kanavi hovering the bot side of the map, knows that Jackie Love and Hong are in a position to get ganked, but also gives him an opportunity to invade.
Subjugate available. Skumon in a position to cover the dive if they do opt to go for it. Laying down the brush. Using the shield to keep Broken Blade topped up.
Yeah, should be able to just grab the dragon there for TES. Top side getting some turret plate money as G2 continue to reapply pressure, though.
I think Top Esports know that with the pressure they have in bot, the wave clear they've got in mid, there should be an uncontested objective. Ivan hovering around mid lane means that 369 shouldn't feel like he's in too much danger. Hansama and Labrov will just fish for poke, and you can see the Ezreal ultimate as well. Coming through the top lane, trying to thin out that wave, also threaten G2's bot lane in the event of the dive, but Hans is more than happy to just play for plates right now.
And despite a difficult first few levels, right, where Jackie Love and Hong are able to put all that pressure down, Hansama and G2 have been able to bring themselves back in this game. It's a 200 gold advantage, but perhaps a bit too keen to take away some of these camps. Labrov is there with the Lantern. Can it get him out this time? The answer is no. Skumon gonna fall, but gonna go move with the fancy footwork just in time for Jackie Love to snipe out the kill.
The triple wards dropped, plus extra bodies on top of the Lantern. Good luck clicking that thing. Zoom in all you want. Skumon takes his own root collar into his death at the Gromp.
Yeah, really a big misplay there from Skumon. He doesn't respect Top Esports' likelihood to swap to try and match this bot lane. And he ends up getting punished for it. Hong in a great position. And for now, Top Esports, they have advantages in terms of gold on the bottom side of the map. Jackie Love picking up that kill, very valuable for this Ezreal as he continues to work towards that Trinity Force.
And while Broken Blade does have a decent individual lead, 300 gold, 369, now level 9. Big break point for the Aatrox. Maximum rank of the Darkened Blade allows him to just essentially spam it infinitely. Individual matchup is going to be a bit more difficult, and G2, we know what they can do when they find those root collars. They have this short-range composition. If they get the setup, but it's still hard for them to find those angles if they're not pushing out these waves first. However, Hansama remains a thorn in the side of TES in the top lane. Jackie Love not in a great position to all in, and so just has to accept being pushed in.
You'll notice an experience difference being built up between the two supports. Labrov, a few more minions, and that will give him level 6. There it is now secured, but Hong has spent a lot of time hovering around Jackie Love to get what farm he needs. Kanavi running into Skumon.
Pillar not going to stop too much here. Skumon just lays down another brush to keep the vision. Waiting now in the darkness. Jackie Love. Oh, have to be careful here. Lebrov, the threat range. They're gonna risk the blind hook. Instead, knows that if they reset, they'll be able to fast push this top lane out and very likely take down this tier 1 tower.
Looks like it. I don't think there's much that Top Esports can do as they need to get the reset through. The objective's in a bit of an awkward spot as the first dragon was taken very late. Herald actually going to spawn before that second dragon. 2 minutes away. I imagine both teams will set their sights on it.
TES hitting their double Trinity Force spike for both Trundle and Ezreal at the moment as well. With these first item completions starting to come in across the Rift. Navi little hover here shouldn't result in too much, but maybe Cream can get a little bit of extra pressure.
Cream happy to have the individual gold lead. I guess the question, gentlemen, is if we go late, we said earlier the range advantage for TES would be hard to deal with. Is keeping it this close favorable for TES?
I mean, I just feel like it depends on RG2 going to be able to land some of their single target CCs. You know, they have the Silas stun, they have the death sentence, they have Renekton flashing in and single target stunning somebody. And then Caps, if you're looking at him stealing an ultimate, is he gonna, try and steal a Hwei ultimate to try and make use of the big AoE slow? DS, I feel like they should be able to just keep up pressure, and they are at least gonna trade top side for bottom side pressure.
Trading sides of the map, of course, Trundle, a terror on those towers, and while there's a lot of tools to protect Han Sama, not quite able to work through that objective quickly, even with the power of 3 grubs from the plays early on.
And I think Top Esports want to keep this going. Even with the grubs advantage that G2 has, they're going to commit to the recall. Broken Blade really can't afford to approach the wave. He has his ultimate to try and protect it, but Cream is on his way as well. TP committed.
Cream first on the move as well. I think sees the TP and all of TES just call the play off. Brov still looking for a bit of a hook here, but just posturing. Not going to be able to find the angle. TES playing really well on that side wave to force G2 to respond.
And a nice catch from 369 as well. He's already going to get the push out. G2 have committed 5 members to the top side. They wanted to use the redemption to interrupt the back, but the prediction of where they were didn't quite come through. This should be an easy cross map for Top Esports as 369 will be able to secure that tower. The problem for 369 is, hook. He doesn't realize that there are 3 wards on the bot side of the map. TP is available for Caps. TP is about to come up for Broken Blade. They could look for a very deep flank to get a collapse onto 369.
It's also 20 seconds away from that Mountain Drake. TES were able to grab the first cloud. Instead, G2 happy with the Herald. See if Caps wants to burn the TP down to this bottom lane tower. Instead, it seems like he'll be happy to catch the wave wherever it's at. TES, though, see an easy angle to set up around this Drake. G2 aren't going to have any bot prio. It will be difficult if they want to contest this. I think more likely that they just give it away.
Yeah, I think it's the trade. My question is, are they going to try and send 3 people towards Cream at the moment? We have Lebrov like looking over the side wall here to see if they can pressure this way.
I will say that XP going the way of Top Esports right now, mainly because 369 has spent so much time isolated in the side lane. Cream doing the same. They both have about a half a level lead as G2 pushing this top wave in with the Heralds. Not much the Top Esports can do to stop it.
Ulti onto Broken Blade.
Caps has to be so careful here. He is completely isolated from his team. And of course, when I say that, that means that he has to fight.
Playing on the edge. Lebrov obviously moving into the mid lane, as is Han Sama, but Han Sama has to be careful not to step too far forward. Has Skumon to protect him, and not just 1 redemption, Vedius, but 2 ready to go. That said, TES, I think, pretty okay with this trade. Obviously, they had already lost the Herald, so losing a tier 2 on top of that isn't unexpected. Are still able to get pressure bot as well as the second Drake.
There's going to be so much healing and shielding in this game with the setups here. Question is, are they going to be able to keep people in long fights?
I mean, the fights are the part I'm most interested about, you know?
Like, please fight.
We've got a lot of speculation. We talked about in draft how it feels Top Esports' composition has a lot of range. They're very easy to play out, especially when contesting around these neutrals. But G2, they'll be reliant on finding these flanks. They have Ivan's support as well. Right now, with no objectives on the board, both teams will be prioritizing completing their items. Second items being worked across the board for both sides. But this Ivan, it's a champion that throughout my career, I've always underestimated how much scaling he really provides. And often we see him paired alongside other enchanters or engaged supports even. But I'm just thinking about Caitlyn with an RFC with an Ivern on top. That seems quite scary to me the later this game goes. And we've seen that type of combination pop off before. So really, who knows how this late game or mid to late game will play out.
And the big thing that I'll say for Caitlyn, and this is true with all the range TF has as well, is whoever gets first set up on that objective is in such a fantastic position. The brush, the traps, the ease of hooks when you know someone is going to walk into you, the general lack of people who really want to face check or are comfortable face checking on the TES lineup. But of course, the same can be said about the Ezreal range, the Hwei range. Either side wants to be late to the play or have to walk into what the enemy team is bringing.
It's also in these mid games where G2 is the type of team. I mean, we saw it in game 1 where they can just get caught. You know, because right now there's no real objective to play for. Mid is not an easy objective to siege on. And so I'm very cautious about how G2 play the map right now because your priority should just be soaking up as much farm as possible. Caps is slow pushing bot wave to scoop as much farm as possible. He knows he doesn't need to push because there's no need. There's no objective that he needs to be present for. There's nothing that he has to go and force. Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, Cream is just going to quickly clear out that wave so they can get it to reset off, and I imagine work towards that second item.
Yeah, and Caitlyn is happy to work to really end game crit builds and fully fill out. You know, Hansama definitely has a lot of potential as all these crit multipliers do start to come in and they can progress. You can put up the extra brushes, you know, for him to headshot from as well, and all of the healing and shielding that they have to kind of kite backwards. He can become this Caitlyn turret as we progress deeper on into the game.
369 potentially caught out on the side, immediately going to use the World Ender as Caps tries to chase. Flash away from the Abduct. Knows that if that single piece of CC hits, that Daisy very likely means there's nowhere else to go. So Flash and ulti burn from 369, 32 seconds ahead of that Otacon spawning.
I would be surprised if these teams immediately try to force the Otacon, but that Dragon looks like a juicy target. 369 with his Flash unavailable could be the target of an unsuspecting pick. And now he has to be so much caution on a side lane. That vision control on the bot side of the map very much in favor of G2, but the opposite is true for top Esports on the top side. Good river control, wards littered, making it very difficult for G2 to see anything, and that's giving Cream the safety to push out that top wave as well. He's pushing as deep as he can. That top tower, remember earlier, took a lot of damage, but now he has to back away. Hung heading up towards the top side, providing more information and vision. Kanavi just going to start this one off.
They still have no vision control here through the tri-brush. There we go.
Now they're going to take it away, and of course this is the difficulty for G2, is who face checks into Cream, into Jackie Love. Kanavi already pulling the Otacon back, doesn't want to be too close.
Caitlyn's backing, they have no idea.
Now they suspect TP coming in from 369. Might not have Flash, might not have ulti, but there to back the team up on the objective.
If they don't have Caitlyn, they cannot fight. So the timing window here for Hans walking back is just going to be too slow. This is for sure just TES objective.
And credit to TES, recognizing the strength of their own composition, that they had enough control on top side to go for it, not waiting for deeper vision, happy with just that tri-brush.
Yeah, I mean, just fantastic setup. Completely suffocate the vision from G2, have full control over the river, and then they use the Mantra E to speed through the river, head straight towards the Dragon. G2 is just watching from the top side after the Otacon has already dropped. Kanavi's going to be cheeky and even look to steal away the blue buff, and I think he's going to get it.
Skumon in no position to respond. Likely the third Drake to TES immediately following.
This could be the fight. Broken Blade's going back to buy. Caps
on the side, but spotted out by TES. Knockup is good from 369. Lantern going to pull him back. Decent ulti coming in from Jackie Love. Redemption getting those health bars right back up. TES pull away from the Drake, but Kanavi wants to fish for more. Pillar down in the mid lane, won't have much effect. Hook connecting on the Hung, but Labrov stuns himself to throw it down, and it's a severing bolt from the skies to knock him down. Caps will fall as well as Jackie Love fearlessly shifts forward.
The Jackie Love engage! He will arcane shift into your face, and they take down Labrov, they take down Caps, and they will take down the Dragon.
Top Esports are playing with their range flawlessly. G2 cannot approach at all. They suffocate G2 away from the vision, they take apart their HP, and they catch Caps out of position.
And this is why we thought this Thresh could very well be a liability. You can just Arcane Shift right on top of him as long as you have confidence to dodge the hookshot. But it started out with Caps being the one that was a bit of a liability here. No flash, chunked out, so they know Silas is out. This is our opportunity to just pounce.
Lebrov, he's looking for a hook. He does connect it onto Hung, but then it's an easy chase down from Jackie Love and Cream. They secure a pick, they convert it into another one. And again, like, the question comes back, how does G2 even really start these fights? And the way is, they have to be on the objective first. They need to be the ones forcing their opposition into them, controlling that space. But they haven't been able to do that this game as Top Esports goes to Soul Point.
Can they find a surprise pick?
Root Collar over the wall. Broken Blade immediately going to stun him. So much damage. Barely gets a chance to push the sub to gain. And likely still going to fall. The shutdown is there. 369 running, but the second Root Collar crucially does not connect. So G2 going to be happy with that single pick.
TES can push mid as a countermeasure, but honestly, yeah, whenever you're in doubt, go into the enemy jungle and look for a pick. They do find at least one here. Some money back getting Kanavi, but it's a little bit late.
Also able to grab the flash, using the Daisy to siege the tower here, but without more threat onto Cream, pretty effortlessly deletes these waves. Daisy gives them a few more autos, but Hansama can't afford to stick around, so the tower low, but they're not going to be able to grab that additional gold.
Yeah, he can't finish that one off, but Cream quietly been farming away this game. He has a 1.1k gold lead over Caps. The Horizon focus giving him all that extra damage. Ezreal ulti not going to interrupt any backs. But this Ezreal just continues to get stronger.
Appropriate, given the skin. And I want to go back to what you said earlier, Betty, because you called out something that I think we haven't seen yet, which is neither side getting picked off too much. I think arguably Lebrov's hook did catch him. And now it's eyes on G2 because they can't, if anyone gets caught on a side lane, the Baron is gone. But the scary part is TES have so much control over the mid lane in this pit that they might not even need to push that far.
Caps is on the long flank. Is this a good one or is this a bad one?
Caps up to the side. Subjugate going to keep him healthy for a damn long time, but hasn't used it quite yet. Redemption going in to heal him up as well. Extra shielding for the trigger seed, and down goes Daisy. G2 bully their way into the river, using the flank of Caps.
Well, they will get a bit of vision for themselves. Caps is going to go back to top lane to push out that wave. Broken Blade is even rotated up. He doesn't have his TP available, so he's wary of a fight breaking out. Caps is still fishing, though, as he clears out that ward. G2, they're just kind of looking for picks right now. Of course, that mid wave is such a difficult one to siege. I'd be shocked if they just started off the Baron. But Broken Blade now going to go back to bot wave. G2 have to retreat because he does not have that TP available.
Caps does get the ulti out of Kanavi. Had already burned the flash before. Caps' flash will also be up soon, so potential summoner spell advantage for the side of G2.
I mean, a much slower game than what we've been seeing so far in this series, but a very well-controlled game from Top Esports. Their objective control has been incredible. The way that they've been pressuring with their lanes has been good, and patience is the most important thing with a composition like this, and they've demonstrated it in abundance.
Yeah, and if you get an Ocean Soul on a comp that has so much poke damage and so much speed to disengage, like, I don't know how you make your fights to actually kill them. So this Ocean Soul to either side just adds tremendous sustain on what is already in the game.
And you can see, we talked about how much healing is in this game. Healing reduction is there for Cream. He has enough AoE to reliably proc it across a team fight. G2's only bit of healing reduction is on Broken Blade, and doesn't really, unless he's in the thick of it, isn't going to be proccing in a lot of those crucial targets. And against an Ocean Soul, this might be a bit of a nightmare for G2. Again, you're already outranged, and now when they hit you with something, they heal. That's just not a great position.
I mean, I'm personally very worried about a Hui level 16. You get the extra rank in that ultimate for Cream, and the team fights are just so hard to play for everybody except for Hansama, because the rest of G2 are going to be clumping.
Lebrov, they're going a little bit wide, but now he's just completely isolated himself. Flash forward with the play. Broken Blade ready to come over the wall immediately into the back of the line, but Jackie Love is still standing for now, untouched. Broken Blade trying to move forward, but 369 perfectly interrupts. Jackie Love shift back over the wall, now able to free fire, but Hansama's firing back just as well. Trap down, Redemption coming in. The Caitlyn needs to make the difference, but it's 369 into the back line with the triple.
Caps is going to run for his life, but 369 still on the hunt. Even though Caps survives, it does not matter. That is going to be TES awaiting the arrival of their Ocean Soul.
It does not matter the year, it does not matter the game, it does not matter the team. The LPL Aatrox comes all the same. It is the fear of all European teams as 369 comes up massively in this team fight. A triple kill secured, a soul secured. G2 find a flank into the fight, but it still was not enough as Jackie Love and 369 navigate the fight beautifully.
And they can endlessly start up Baron. They have Ocean Soul. They can sustain forever. Skewmond is so far away on the Ivern. As Steel is very difficult. Okay, Lantern can get him closer. Is the miracle here?
Skewmond needs to get the steal. 5K getting lower. Caps waiting over the wall, taking a bit of poke already. Root down from Skewmond. All D's coming in. Lebrov getting lower and lower. 369 looking to isolate him completely. The jungler deleted. Kanavi remains on the Baron. Caps hoping for a desperation steal, but it absolutely will not work. The Ocean Soul, the Baron empowering TES as they take the objective. Hansama, Q connecting, Infernal Chains, and it's beautiful from 369.
Top Esports deny the steal from G2. Top Esports is hunting for more kills, and Top Esports is looking to go match point in this best of 5.
Lantern there, but TES running G2 down. Caps finally going in, but that's not a 1v1 you want. Jackie Love in melee range, fist fighting the Silas without fear.
And TES are inside the base. They've got Baron buff on. They can just go for the rest of the buildings.
Reset coming in from Broken Blade. Skewmond there, but it's not enough. 39 seconds on Caps, 13 on Hansama. The True Shot Barrage will not connect, but TES just keeping the siege going. One tower to fall. Broken Blade marked up by the Spiraling Despair, trying to hold on to the mental in the final moments as the last member of G2 falls. Hansama there just in time to watch TES move on to match point, and they're making it personal as they take him down.
Kanavi flashing the JDG sign right there. Him and 369 want it back in semifinals.